So in this guide, I'll show how it's possible to have two numbers tied to two different agents on Salesforce. The requirements are that you have two different virtual numbers on 8x8 and two different sub-accounts. And then on Salesforce, you're going to have a queue button, chat queue, a chat button, and a chat deployment for each agent. And all these agents can be part of the same Salesforce Service Cloud instance. And so looking at the setup for the chat buttons, there's going to be two relevant ones here. There's going to be the SMS button 1, and then there's going to be SMS button 2. And then what we're going to see here is once we load it up, they're tied to, this button is tied to SMS queue 1. And then when we look at the other button here, it's going to be tied to the SMS button 2. Just give it a second to load here. See, or SMS queue 2 rather. And then when we go to the chat settings page, they're part of the same. It's just enabling chat here, and going into deployments, we're going to see two different SMS deployments. When we go into the first one, you can see that it has its deployment code here, and this is going to be important because we're going to need some information from this page when we submit this information to the 8x8 ops team to make changes on the back end. And the information is actually called out in our guide here. Just going to the Salesforce section. So this is the information that our ops team will ultimately need to tie your Salesforce queue button and deployments into a specific agent. We'll need it in this format. So it'll have an example of the button ID, the deployment ID, and organization ID, and then also the chat API endpoint. It'll look something like this. So for example, if you have a phone number you want to tie to an agent, you can provide our ops team with the phone number that you want to tie, the sub-account, the Salesforce organization, deployment, and button ID. So these fields would be what is required to help tie this phone number to this specific Salesforce chat deployment. And then similarly for the second number, we're going to need the same information, but it should be a different Salesforce organization, deployment, and button ID. This last line is just for my notes. And so once you provide this, and once you've done the prerequisite step of setting up the chat button, the chat deployment for each agent, and also the queue for each agent, the results would be that each agent should have, once they log into the service console and omnichannel, they should have, when a message comes in to a specific number, they'll see it in their queue here. They can go ahead and accept that, and then see those messages come in. And it should be different for each agent. And also just to show, actually you could have SMS and chat apps on the same account. So we also support Viber and WhatsApp, and I'm just going to show that here. So switching to Viber. I'm going to send a message, and then you can see here that Viber also came in, and we can use that logged into either agent because the Viber deployment here is tied to a queue, to a chat queue that goes to either agent. So when we see a Viber message come in, we can respond, and then we can see that go back to Viber as well. So that's just a possibility for you. Besides having two different SMSs tied to two different agents, you can also have a Viber profile or WhatsApp profile tied to either all agents, or you can do it similar to SMS where you would tie it to different agents for each WhatsApp or Viber profile. So hopefully this shows how you can achieve having this particular use case where you'll have a phone number dedicated to a specific agent, and always having that any inquiries going to that number go to that specific agent's queue on Salesforce